Good morning guys, and welcome to today's vlog. Today brings us to Northamptonshire. We're parallel with the A43. We've come to a place where there's an abandoned farm and an abandoned old farmhouse, which I've called the Dead House. You'll see why when we enter it. For future reference, if anyone wants to go to the Dead House, basically follow the instructions of where we are basically here today. Should be a good explore. We're keeping out of the way of the farmers to the left and to the right of us. There's a trail that takes you parallel to a set of woods. Then you should be in a clearing. Come out of that little thicket area and the farm itself is situated behind that. Don't know what to expect, know what we're hoping for. We're hoping to survive, that's for sure. Anyway guys, come and join us. Our journey on our way to our destination has taken us along, as you can see, a clearly trodden path. I believe it's a public right of way just to the left or to the right of us, so you've got no hassle walking down here. I don't even know whether it's private land, public land. I guess the farmers and the surrounding areas swamped in and took what was surrounding the old farm of where we're going after its demise, and they've just left it because the small amount of land that it takes up doesn't interfere with any of their crop growing. But anyway guys, this is how you're going to get in. We parked in a lay-by on the A43 and it's pretty much, I guess, maybe a 15-20 minute walk from there along this path. Then you come out of the bush area and you should see a path up to another wooded area, and our destination lays beyond that. Our destination, guys, lies just to the side of that thicket area, that small wooded area down that path, probably about 250 metres away from here. It's been quite an adventure keeping out of the sight of the local farmers who are around collecting the straw and the hay bales, but we've managed it. We've not been spotted. Well, here you go guys, that is the Dead House, or I like to call it the Dead House Farm. This place has been derelict for quite a long while now. Don't know the reason why. Probably it's an old stone cottage, fell probably within disrepair because of what would have needed to be do the place up again. Old wiring, old plumbing, etc. No electric obviously back in that day, probably accessed via a water pump somewhere. And so let's make our way in. Okay guys, let's enter what we call the Dead House. Not a lot left of it, to be honest with you. Paul's rummaging around upstairs, as you can see. Oh, I've fallen down a big hole. It's just big earth mounds everywhere. This place is severely caving in on itself, so you've got to watch your step wherever you go. We'll start off around here. There is a bit of light showing from the camera, but luckily that's probably the original front door or back door. We've come in through the back way. Not sure what these rooms would have been, to be honest with you. Just seen a kitchen here. You're going to have to forgive the torch again. I've gone up in lumens. I'm now on a 2000 lumen torch, but you're still getting them shadow marks, which I spoke to someone who's been doing this lark for a good 6.5 years, and he said it's all trial and error with your thumbnails, etc. But yeah, for now all I've got is this torch, so we'll have to make do. But future reference, I will be getting one of these long pole type LED light things. That looks like an old Arga, but we don't need the light in here. The ambience of this just sets it off a little bit. Is that an Arga, guys? I have not got a clue. Certainly an old type of oven. Anyone out there who knows, tell us in the comments. I believe it's an Arga. I'm going to say that just for the sake of it, but yeah, it looks pretty cool. If you are wondering about the low voices, the almost whispering side of things, it's because there's farmers in the fields all around us that we've evaded to get to this place. I think they're just collecting the straw, the hay bales at the moment. So it's best not to wind them up. We don't intend to cause any harm or cause any hassle. We're just making our way through, finding things of some element of interest to you folks. I'll have a look at that room in a second. This one's got a bit more light. I think this is like an annex, or that at least has been added onto it. What I can't make head or tail of, unless people have obviously changed the way this house was. I believe that would have been a side door. There's a front door round where the staircase is. That's a fireplace for sure. Everybody knows that, you're not silly. And there's another one of them bread ovens. Were these all the rage? Until the last property that we come to, that crooked house, I'd never even seen a bread oven in a property before. It just shows you the age of the properties, I guess. As I said before, you'd put your wood, coal maybe, I don't think coal so much because that would have damaged the food, and then you put your bread, whatever in there, maybe a pie. People said pizza oven. It's too early for a pizza oven, that's for sure. That would have been a side annex barn type thing. Your electrics box there. Obviously long disconnected, and look at the flakiness of the walls. And then roof rise. This is what it gets like. It gets more sketchier as the further you go upstairs. Someone had even hooked up an old light there. It's a cool find, that's for sure. Seems to be a load of small, tiny little rooms, to be honest with you. And it's certainly seen better days. Old door, very old door. Old locking mechanism there. This is like another side door at the back. And that would have been on the way upstairs. The stairs would have bent round here. This would have been like a little landing area. And right up there to the top. I will see how far I can venture up. We have there nothing of any real interest, I believe. And that you can see all the way through. Again, another small room. Some wooden framing. It's hard, really is hard to depict what would have been what. You've only got the level that turns around and says this was some sort of living space. Small living room if it is. Would it have had two kitchens? This is what confuses me with the fact that it's got a bread oven to the side and the other oven, the Aga, as I'm saying, further around to your right. Yeah, would that have been a main bedroom? I suppose the fact of having that and the bread oven would have kept extra warmth in the house. The roofs are very low. Mind you, I suppose people would have been smaller back then. That must be a 5-foot doorway. What would it cause that? Is that animals burrowing? Is there pipe work down there? Someone come in here and nicked all the piping? So we walk through that way. So let's make our way across here. It's very sketchy, guys. That would have been your front door, for sure. Some of the old switches, that would have been your banister rail would have gone up there. Electrics dangling. Obviously this has been dead for a long time electric wise. Not the most secure of stairs, that's for sure. We'll just be as gingerly as we can. They don't creak as much as mine at home. The actual stairs don't make any noise. Certainly seen better days up here, that's for sure. Wow, look at the state of that. You've got to work out where the beams would have been. I won't be walking any further than that in any of these rooms. That is severely dangerous. An old fireplace would have sat there. Everything's falling through to the lower levels. Now, was that natural decay, or was that someone's come in and stripped the place? The walls are obviously cracking. Upstairs looks even different ball game altogether. I don't know who lived here, how long ago they lived here, what happened to them, what happened to the farm. Nobody knows, I guess. Maybe they just, these places, because they're so old that they become obsolete. You can't do nothing with them, they start to fall apart, and because of the workings within them, they just get left abandoned. The rooms are tiny though. As Paul's just saying, it's very creepy. Yeah. It's got a very spooky vibes to it. Something's gone on in this place. Yeah. I don't think, I mean, we ain't that bothered about coming to places at night, but I wouldn't even attempt this. Yeah. I've already stepped up to me knees on the ground level. Yeah. Just a great big hole just opened up in the floor. Yeah. But yeah, you're going to go up or you're going down to the side? Going down, right. These are stairs that no one's going to be attempting to go up to the attic because they are crumbling away to nothing, and you don't know whether them beams would support you or not. But there's certainly another level up there. And what hides up there, who knows? More evidence of the roof coming in. And as I said, all you can do is just make your way along the flooring area where you know where there would have been a solid beam, and just be as careful as you possibly can. Okay, that's the stairwell that I showed you up the inside of before. So if I look down there where they end, that was a way up originally. More stairs to the side there. We'll have a look at them in a minute. Wow. That is very pirate-ish. You've got, there's a musket there, pirate ship, your apparatus for measuring distance. So it would have been possibly a child's room. Light fittings have been ripped out. Old style door again. Another step round the side there. Interesting. Glass mason jars everywhere. That is rather beautiful looking actually. And then there's that level up there, so let's get out here a bit, see what we have to the side. Okay, there's me pointing the camera through there saying where does it go. This is your other level, some sort of leather bag there. Have a look at that in a second. Wow, that is sketchy, guys. Might go to the top of the stairs and that's about it. Don't try this at home, folks. Try it at a friend's house. Well, this is rickety. Won't go any further than this door, that's for sure. Alright, this would have been virtually the attic. I don't see any other way up apart from that. That's the roof area. Could have been a kiddie's room. Old style locks on the doors and cave spiders and all sorts hovering around everywhere. But you know what? We got up to the attic. I'm even surprised we done that. But not going to stick around. Let's get back downstairs. This is what we just climbed up, folks. Full of debris. You just have to get a steady footing and take it one step at a time. But this is a rickety old house. I've never seen a house like it. Don't know whether it's turned the last century. Certainly be into the 1800s, maybe 1700s. And then abandoned, probably looking at that wallpaper. Maybe 70s, 80s. because it come obsolete. Final look from this room up into the attic area. That are the walls you was just looking at as the staircase I just went to by the side. But you got to be as safe as you possibly can in these places. It's not a game, you don't get second chances. So I guess the question to ask you guys is, would you come here? Would you attempt to come here? Do you see the point in coming here? It's got vibes to it that you think, you know what, I fancy it. I really did. There's not much to see, I'll admit that much. But it's fascinating walking through, going back in basically a time warp, seeing what I believe is an Aga down below us. Everything, the old fireplaces, there's no central heating, etc. It's just all fireplaces. Come here at night? Certainly not. Not for a fear factor, it's more of the dangerment that would be involved with bits sticking out, gaps in floors. So no, not for us. Anyway, I'll make my way back downstairs. Shows you the level of the abandonment. That's muck spreader, very old muck spreader. It's rusted to pieces at the bottom, so that's been there probably a couple of decades easily. Very old push bike frame hanging up there on the side there. Don't know whether that depicts a certain year. That looks very 70s, 80s for sure. We're going to have a look in the larger of the barns here to my left. Make our way through. Okay, I'm guessing they must be grain sorters. They may be shaked and corns fell off them. I don't know. I haven't got a clue. Somewhere, if I have a look in the Milton Keynes Museum, you've got this sort of stuff laying to the side at the back of there. Might give me a better idea. Some people said, well, look, them bits over there, they could have been incubators for hens. Very old, whatever they are. Obsolete practice for sure. A few motor spares lying around. Some very, very old tractors. Them I would turn around and say anything from 1930s, 1940s onwards. Wonder what it would take to get them running. Be a great beach buggy if you did get one of them running, that's for sure. Stick a seat on it, top it up with fuel and oil, and away you go. That looks like it could be off the front of a old Ford Sherpa van, or a Sherpa van or something like that. There's dials here. I'd say they're off a tractor or a combine or something. Old seating, bench seating, and a lot of pipe work, like ducting. So I'd imagine this has come at a later point. That's an electric pole, so I would turn around and say this has just become a dumping ground after a period of time. Electrics over the back there. Old battery. Not a lot to see, but there is a lot to see, if that makes a lot of sense. If you're into your oldie woldy engines, then that is a good find for you. It's actually 3 tractors. Pigeons have had a field day on that one. I wonder if they stripped them for parts for other vehicles. And there is a way up, not that I'd climb through. This has been cleared out from when, I think it was Urban Rock coming here. He could get past that, but it was not as piled up as much as this. We can hear the distinctive sound of the tractors going backwards and forwards. They're collecting these straw and hay bales, so we've been avoiding them like the plague before we get the old, oi, clear off. Been lucky so far. We've done the house, we've done this. Anything really is a bonus after doing that. But we'll persevere. Well guys, that's going to do it for that vlog. We came, we saw, we conquered it. We stayed out the way of the farmers, didn't interrupt what they were doing. They had no clue whatsoever that we was here. So we could go about our business the same as they could. So we could bring you this video of this dead house farm where we are we've just been basically. It was a good explore. It's a bit sketchy, a bit spooky, had a certain element that you wasn't alone there, as if all around you the place was alive, but it wasn't alive. It doesn't make sense what I'm saying, but you kind of get the gist of it if you went and visited there yourself. If you do, be very, very careful. Them floors are by no means stable. I stepped down a big hole. Luckily enough, it was on the ground floor. If it was further up, it could have been in a bit of trouble. But we've enjoyed it, and with that, enjoy the rest of your week. We'll see you in the movies. Bye for now.